Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, and on this video I am going to teach you guys how to use Django. If you have never used Django and you're interested in using Django, this is the video for you. I'm going to teach you how to download Python, and then I'm going to teach you how to pick a code editor, and then finally we're going to download Django. Especially, we're going to do the first project in the Django website. Therefore, the reason why I'm doing the first project is to also teach you guys how to read documentation. Because a lot of people get stuck in tutorial hell because it's not that they don't have the ability, but they don't go and read about the documentation. Essentially, the documentation will tell you almost everything you need to know. So let's get started. So the first thing that you have to download is Python. You download Python, you go to the website is www.python.org. You go to download. Usually the version is right over here, but there's other different releases. You can go over here and click. If you're interested in the releases from the past, you can go ahead and download the releases from the past. And I usually download the one that's recent right here. Look, this one says you cannot be used on Windows 7. Wow. Anyways, if you have any question about Python, most likely it will be inside the documentation. You can go ahead and try to read what's in there. But to be honest, ain't nobody got time for that. And yeah, so you click download and it'll do a bunch of stuff. And you will have Python in your computer. The next thing you need to download is Visual Studio Code. So Visual Studio Code it's basically where you're going to write your code. The truth of the matter is you can write your code anywhere you want. You can write it in a notepad, you can write it in a command prompt, you can write it wherever. As long as you have something that can actually play the program, you can write it anywhere. But a code editor will help you. You will see. There's a bunch of plugins that come with code editors that really help developers to get the programs running faster. You don't really have to memorize a lot of stuff. What ends up happening is that the program will kind of solve, or we'll try to guess what you're coding. We'll see it pretty soon. And finally, the last thing you want to download is Django, but this is going to be done through pip, which comes with Python. It's a little program that can download other programs through Python. So here is Django, and this is the exercise we're going to do right here. So let's click the part 1. And Django also has documentation, right? This is where I am, documentation. So we're going to start at part 1 here. Okay. We can do this. Python M Django version, creating project, blah, 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 blah. Alrighty. Let's get ready to code. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is actually create a project. As you can see here, I already have a file that's open. As you can see, you can go over here and click open file, and it's going to open the file. It's not showing, but it's going to open the file. It's essentially a folder. And then you can name it whatever you want, right? Once you name it whatever you want, what you want to do is you want to open your terminal, your terminal, and your terminal will show where your project is. And the first command after installing Python and Django, you will want to create a virtual environment, because a virtual environment allows you to have everything you need for your project inside that environment. Essentially, instead of downloading it in your computer, and it just makes it a lot more cleaner. Your project will have everything it needs inside its environment. Okay, so to get the environment, there's many ways to do it, but I just type virtual env, and then I name my project env. Bam. Here you go. It created a virtual environment. As you can see here, there's a bunch of stuff here that are written. Don't mind that. So we're going to clear the screen. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to activate the environment. So to activate the environment, we gotta go through the file env script activate. And this is for Windows. Mac is a little bit different, but for Windows, this is how you activate it using the command prompt. If you're using another, if you're not using command prompt, you're using like Z shell, it's a little bit different. But here you go. Once you activate your environment, you will see env right here. Env right here. It means the environment is activated. So let's clear the screen. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to download Django. And we're going to write down this command, pip install Django. And then you press enter. And then pip is going to be installing. As you can see, pip will install Django in your system. Not in your system. It will install Django inside your environment. Once it's done, we will see that Django inside this environment. If you open it up, you see there's libraries inside this environment. And as you can see, Django is right here. It's been installed. As you can see, pip is also installed inside this environment, which is very, very awesome. So let's go. Let's close this environment. As you can see, I need to upgrade my pip version. And then again, ain't nobody got time for that. But now we have Django. What is our next step? Let's go check the website. It's going to tell us what is our next step. In the website, it tells us that we have to type in Django admin, start project, and then you name your site. This is since this is our first project, we're going to call our site Hello World. So let's type in the command. Django -admin start project Hello World. And then what you want to do is put a little dot after, because then the managed py will be outside the folder and it will be much more easier to manage. As you can see here. So when you put the dot right after your name, the managed py folder is something that we need to access to run a bunch of command inside Django. So when you press the dot, when you type in the dot, the managed py comes out the folder. As you can see here, Django has been installed. He has created a project named Hello World. Inside of it, a bunch of stuff, URLs, settings, and a bunch of stuff that will allow us to run the project, right? So next step. So what's the next step on the list? Let's check the list. Our next step after creating the project is to run the server. Python managed by run server. So that's what we're going to be doing. So let's go and type in Python manage.py run server. Boom. As you can see here, it says you have 18 unapplied migration. It's because you'll see in a bit. We need to migrate a couple of files in order for the project to be fully functional. But as you can see, our project is working, and the URL for our project is inside our own computer. It port 8000. So we're going to click this, and something is going to happen. As you can see here, we're accessing the different folders, right? So we're calling get, and we're getting a bunch of stuff from our project. So now let's check our project. Here you go. The install worked successfully. Congratulations. Woohoo! We have essentially created our first project. And now we have to make it say hello world. So let's go back to our VS Code. Let's get out of the project. To get out of the project and the Windows computer, Control C. Not to get out of the project, but to shut down the server, Control C. So now we're going to look at our next step. What is our next step? Our next step is read. This is a bunch of stuff, as you can see. Over here is a poll app, which is really, really interesting. Okay. Alrighty. So I guess we're going to be building a poll app. We're going to be creating the poll app. Alrighty. Python managed by start app polls. So let's create the poll app. Okay. So the command was Python manage that start app, and we're going to name it polls. As you can see, the app has been created. And also look right here. It created a small little database for us to use, a db.sqlite3. This is what's beautiful about Python, not Python, I mean Django, is that it makes it so much easier for you to like work inside your own computer. So once you're done with a project inside your own computer, you can now put it in the internet, and it will work the same way as if it was inside your computer. Beautiful program. That's why I love Django, by the way. Alrighty, so we have created our app. So let's check what's inside our app. Poll, a bunch of stuff. Model, which is going to be very interesting. Views, and a bunch of other stuff. So now let's take a look at our documentation to see what is next. So we have created this right here. Now we're going to write our first view. Wow, our first view. Hello world, you are at the poll index. This is going to be awesome. As you can see here, we have to go to the file name polls/views.py. So that's what we're going to do. And to make it easier, you can just copy and paste this. But it's better if you type it for like new programmers. There's something that happens when you type the programming languages. It kind of like you retain the language a little bit more, like the syntax when you type it. But when you get a little bit better, you can copy and paste, because that is a lot more easier. So we're going to go to views, and I'm going to copy and paste this right here. So let me explain. So we're going to get this package here, and we're going to import the HTTP response. As you can see here, my code editor tells me what things are, and it's also very colorful and beautiful. So we define an index, and that this index gets a request from the website. As you can see here, right here, we're calling a get request. So basically everything that's inside this request, all of this beautiful stuff here, will be available to us. Will be available to us, and it will be passed down so that we can later on use every single info item that is inside the request. So this request is going to return a response. The response is going to be hello world, you're at the poll index. But we're not done yet. What's our next step? Okay, we have done this. The next step is we're going to go and create a URL file inside our poll. And we're going to write this beautiful code right here. Okay, so we go inside our poll. Inside the poll, we create a file called urls.py. Enter, and then we write this code right here. So from Django URLs, import a path, and from our base directory, import views. Basically, we're getting this right here, views. And inside view, we're getting views.index. So we're going here, and then we're going right here. So if you know Python, if you're familiar with Python, you will understand how it works, how you can import stuff. But if you're not familiar, this is exactly what the computer is doing. It's telling you to import this folder, and then it's telling us to go to the base folder, which is poll, and then it's telling us to go to views. So then we go to views, and then when you go views.index, it means this is the file, or this is the function that we're looking for. And after that, we're going to get this once we activate the function. It also gets a name, which is index, You can name it whatever you want, but later on you will figure out why we need to name stuff. It makes it much more easier to do a lot of things. So next we're going to go to our main site URL. And what we're going to do in our main site URL, we're going to create a path that's going to point our polls URL. So basically it's saying if you go to our website /polls is going to include the URLs from the poll. So it's just going to go right here. So if you type this, it's going to go here, right? And I'll copy this and I'll explain it better in a bit. Okay, so we're going to go to our hello world, and there's our URL folder right here. So what we need to do is we need to write this beautiful code here, and it's that simple. So it's saying if you type your website /polls, include all the URLs that are underneath polls, right? So it's going to go here, it's going to go to polls, then it's going to go to URLs, and all this is going to be available for us to handle. Okay. Now we're going to save everything before we run the project, and then we're going to go Python manage.py run server. So now we're going to run the server. Let's not forget we're going to migrate, but just not now, a little bit in the future. So now let's take a look at how our project looks like. This is what it says. And now it's showing us what URLs are available, because the home URL is not available because we haven't put it yet. If you want the home URL, you will have to tell Django where the home URL is. But for right now, we have to go and find the polls. So this is what I was saying. So if you go your URL /polls and you press enter, here you go, guys. Hello world. You are at the poll index. And that is what this first project is about. And yeah, this is our first project right here. Hello world. So now let's go back to me. So again, this is my first video, and this is how to start an app, how to install Django, how to install Python, and also how to use a code editor, and how to create your first Hello World program. So from now on, every other project will not have this step here. You guys should be familiar with this, practice a lot. And I hope you enjoy my channel. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and do all that beautiful stuff so that I can continue to provide my services to you guys, and you guys can enjoy the content that I'm creating. All right? Peace.